So, and I would appreciate if you could just, switch on your cameras. Uh, Feels as if I'm looking at some alphabets there. If it is okay for you, please switch on your camera. If you are in a, uh, even if you are in a spectrum, that is fine. You can mute yourself, and that is okay. So, I'll just share my screen, and before that, let me know if you are on the same page with me. Are you clear on what we are here for? And let me know if I shall proceed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Okay, very well. So, how many of you have looked at the form? Just a show of hand will work. Okay, great. So, you guys have looked at the form, right? And have you tried filling it up? Okay, yes, if I did try filling it up. So, and I think Padmaja also tried filling it up. Yeah. So now tell me, Yasika, was there any moment you were sort of lost in the process and then felt that it is too repetitive? I am asking the same question again and again.
So there were three groups like A, B, C. I don't know which one should I choose, and then there were several options like healthcare, and so I was kind of confused. Like we don't have any brief, so how should I proceed with it?
Yeah, I thought exactly the same. And that's the reason why we are meeting him. The intent of sending the form to you was that when we meet next, I'm gonna help you fill up the form. But since we have this 1 month ka beach mein space, I just called up this meeting for the same reason. And what I'll do in this, guys, anybody else who had tried filling up the form? I guess Sukanya also raised it. Sukanya, you're there? Kritika, yeah, okay. Kritika, can you tell us the challenges you faced while filling up the form?
Yes, sir. So there were a lot of questions. First, I wanted to go through all the questions. So I just filled something in the responses and I kept going till the last
Yeah,
page
okay,
just to look at the questions. So uh, the questions felt a little uh, bit much. Like I thought, first I need to think. I haven't thought that much to answer all of these things.
got it, got it.
So,
So
yeah.
basically, probably we casually approach the form and only to realize later that it's a lot complex than what we had estimated. And because see, this form is designed not to be filled at one go. This is something which probably will take a week of your time, maybe 10 days also, and it's part of the cognitive process which you undergo while dealing with the questions of the form. And so, do you think it would be a good idea that I share my screen and try to fill up the form in front of you? And I also plan on using Chat GPT for doing
Yes,
the
sir.
same and sort of use. Yeah, would you be interested?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very well then. So let's get on to it. I'm gonna share my screen, and so I already have it open. On the right hand side, you can see the form. On the left hand side, I have ChatGPT. So it is like I'm working in collaboration with the ChatGPT and trying to fill up the form. But how I employ AI while ideating, that would be the primary takeaway from this session. And apart from that, of course, it's solving our purpose of being able to develop a brief for UX and UI project. So on the right hand side, I have the form open in editing mode. I'll just run you through the entire form because those who haven't started it yet, or even if you have started and not finished it, don't have an end-to-end understanding of what the form expects. So I'm going to show it to you in the editing mode first. And followed by that, I'll also try to fill the form and contextualize how this question is relevant to our project development. Okay, guys, I'll wait for your responses before proceeding. If I,
Yes, sir.
yeah, so somebody has to be there. At least one person can act as an anchor from your side to whom I can talk. Okay, Shruti, you are up for that?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So let's start. So you see the title and the introduction, and then there is this first section, which is primarily about just understanding your personal data. That's name, email ID, and enrollment number. That's just to distinguish. And if you come under any of the sections, there are no sections, so I'm just going to remove it here. Now, project domain and focus. Which domain does your project primarily focus on? Now, understand when we uh, do a UX and UI project, like we had discussed earlier in those 3 days, we narrowed it up to that either we are creating a product, offering a service, or building a system. These were the options we had narrowed upon. These are the primary domains. So within that domain also, there can be a digital interface, which is a digital product, right? At the same time, the digital interface can also provide a service, and itself, the service or the product is a system. So, if you can trace back to the example of that donut shaped, uh, connection of service, system, and product we had discussed in the class, uh, then this question would be easier for you. So you just have to decide whether you want to create a digital interface. Now that digital interface can be for a product or a service or part of a system. All three are fine. And which is my follow-up question. So you pick any of these: digital interface, physical interaction, and service design, and followed by that. Now this is based on what you actually want to do. As a person, we always know that my affinity is more towards creating digital interfaces, because that is what drives me. Or basically, when I look at websites, when I look at applications, I find that this there is a scope for improvement in it, or there are some nuances which really bothers me a lot. So dig deep inside and then try to find out what kind of person you are. Are you somebody who would enjoy doing a digital interface, or you are somebody who wants to curate the spaces? So physical interactions, basically. uh, Somebody who likes to really set up the house nicely, somebody who loves working with the light, decorating a corner of the house, just not for the aesthetical reasons, but probably for uh, the functional aspects of curating a space as well. So those people are going to choose physical interactions. And then comes service design. So there are people who would like things to make easier for people. Service is all about making people feel empowered, making people feel that they are in control, and you know uh, that it's easy for them to get things. That is what service design is all about. And service design is also about combining multiple systems to cohesively work towards one goal. So that's again the definition of these three choices I had given, and you just pick out one based on that. Followed by which probably is at the time seems as if it is being narrowed too much, but trust me, it is going to help you further in answering the questions. So what is the main focus of your project? Do you want to do the product or a system or a service or an experience? So let's say that I have selected a digital interface. I have all four of the options open to me. Either in the digital interface domain, I'm going to build a product, or I'll build a system, or a service, or an experience. Okay. So experience can be a short movie as well. If it is a digital interface and a combination of experience is there, so it can be micro interactions, it can be let's say the way the landing page loads, or an application gives you the onboarding process in a very different way. So that's digital interface and experience. Similarly, if you club these two keywords, a direction will be visible on its own, which further takes you to narrowing up on the sectors you would want to work with. Now, sectors is also, if we look at this list of things, there are a few things which naturally attracts you. You know, there would be somebody who would be more interested in the fashion and apparel sector. So, while this form is about developing the brief, but the questions are planned in a way that it also puts you into the introspective position where you question yourself, what kind of person I am. And that's the importance of going through this entire process, because unless you know who you are, you cannot empathize with anybody else. So this process will also help you find out if I'm more interested in food and beverages, and that will be based on your memories, your past experiences, your affinity towards things, or your current interest, or future goals as well. So you can drive any of these and then align it with the project, because you are going to spend time with this. So choose any of it, and after these three combinations, there are more qualitative, or you could say more thought based, idea based questions. So the first question I'm asking here is, describe the problem or need you intend to address with this project. Okay. And further, there are some questions. I'll just quickly rush through it, and while filling up the form, I'll try to just employ ChatGPT to speed up the process. Um, you guys also can do the same. So I'm not gonna fill up the entire form, uh, respecting the time. But maybe one section I'll do, and that you can see, and accordingly utilize ChatGPT if need be, or some other AI uh, platforms. So now this section broadly uh, talks about the problem identification and innovation, and then describe the problem or need you intend to address with your project, because you're designing an experience catering to a need. It's something which can be turned into a profitable business. And while we look at the philanthropic aspect of it, that an experience should be just providing, we also have to understand there is a economics behind realizing everything, and there are no ill intentions if we want to create a profitable experience for the stakeholders as well. So in that case, uh, we have to think of the monetizing angle as well. So when you are describing the problem or need you intend to address with your project, have that at the back of your mind. Maybe not write it here because that's the right place. There are questions related to that as well, where you can talk about the commercial aspect of your project. Now, is this a new problem or an existing one? The questions are designed in a way that it funnels your thoughts through investigating all the possibilities of in really choosing something with which you can connect for the rest of your project duration. Now comes research and validation. So basically, if you say that I like ice cream and I would like to do some project on it, my question is, how much have you researched on it? Because it may be just a daydream. We like ice cream and I want to do a project on it. No, I like ice cream and I did my research on it, and that is why I want to do the project. That's the correct approach. So this is why this section is important. Here I'm talking about if you have picked up something earlier, sector wise and all those things wise, and you have identified your problem statements also, you have to validate it with a little preliminary research, maybe just a quick Google search, you know, uh, conversing with Chat GPT or some other AI bot, or talking to your peer group, and that process will take time. So I would suggest, now since you know about the flow of the form, you should plan accordingly also. So if you have narrowed upon something, do a preliminary research, or you can right away just jump into it based on your intuitions. Do the first section, do the second section, and when it comes to the third section, hold for a day, a couple of days. Don't close the form in the browser window. It will retain the information you have earlier filled, and fill it over a span of 7 to 10 days. And we have those 10 days in hand. I believe you'll be traveling while this month a lot. Uh, I had discussed it with Magma ma'am, uh, but find out some time to do this also, because if we connect again next time and your project's briefs are done, we can actually turbocharge the process and quickly just start developing it. Right now, research and validation part. Just go through. I'll just pick out a random question. So, what methodologies will you see to validate your problem statement? Now, while doing this part, if you have any issues in understanding the questions, I would advise you to go to Rupa ma'am, because she has a solid research background and she will not say no to, she will offer help. I'm very sure. Okay. So, if you don't understand any of these questions, please go to her, or even talk to any of the faculties there. They will help you. Now comes conceptualization and design. When we think of a problem, we actually also have a solution to offer. That solution may be not so mature, but the moment a problem comes to our mind, our mind automatically employs itself to find problems. That's a human nature. Okay. So when you thought of the problem, there must be some initial ideas how to solve the problem. And if a problem does not have any initial thought or an idea which can solve it in your head, that means you have not churned it enough. That means you haven't, given much time to that problem. Okay, so eliminate those problems. Now, conceptualization and design just ask you for the initial and basic ideas. How do you wish to solve the problem? It may not be the exact answer, but maybe just a direction in which you are ready to explore to find out the answer. So describe your initial concept or idea for addressing the problem. How does your concept align with the needs of the stakeholder? What are the key features or functionalities you plan to include? Okay. Now, after answering all these questions, we go to the resource and implementation, and there comes the commercial angle, the viability, the feasibility of realizing the product. Now, here it is also about internally how we prepare ourselves to tackle with this situation. It's about the technical proficiencies, the knowledge of tools, having access to certain group of people for conducting user research, having access to certain technologies for user testing, and all of this can only happen if you have some funding, right? So here I'm not saying that you think of the funding, but I'm just saying think of the ways how you could commercially also align your project so that a venture capitalist or somebody who has the money would be interested in investing in it. That's it. Commercial viability in one word, one phrase. I can tell you. So think of that. With support, what support do you need from instructors, peers, or industry experts? If you have clarity on what help do you need, it would be easier for you to find out who can help you in that. Okay, and everybody can use help. So now, post to that comes impact and success measurement. We have an idea. We know that this problem can be solved with the idea I have. But how will I know that the problem got solved? And having understanding of that in the beginning tells you that the results are as expected. Very simple. So it's like, let's say that there is a tap which is leaking in my kitchen, and I know that it can be solved by putting some AMSIL around it, and there is a process how AMSIL is supposed to be applied. How will I know if I have succeeded? The only thing, if the tap stops from dripping, leaking, my success is there. So this part talks about impact and success measurement. How do you know that? You know, your problem is solved. So this section takes care of that, followed by the reflection and final thoughts. And this also includes the process you have underwent till reaching the section 8. Now, why did you choose this particular topic? This would be probably the first question I would ask. So don't think of this form as just a document, but this is exactly how I interact with you in person. Think of it in this way: that why did you choose this topic? Think as if I am asking the question and answer that. You can also do it like this way, that schedule that I'm going to fill one section in one day. There are 8 sections. I think first 3 sections can be filled in one day. That leaves us with a total of 5 sections and 5 days. So 5 plus 1, 6 days are enough. uh, I think time to fill this, and days I mean just an hour or maybe an hour and half an hour. So any thoughts, guys, before we start filling up the form? Anybody can speak, not just the Shruti. If you are in a location where you can speak, please speak. Are you even listening to me? I think they have put me on mute and they're enjoying Spectrum. Is that so? Am I wasting my time here?
No, sir, we're listening.
Huh? You guys are listening? Is it too
Yes, sir.
early on Saturday or something? What's the status right now? What are you guys doing? Are you in college?
Some of us are there in the college. Some are at their
Show at least
house.
what's happening in the college. What kind of installation did they do? Guys, those are in college, speak up. Some events are going on. What? Hmm.
So, sir, there's fashion show in the evenings. Everyone's preparing for that.
What are they preparing for?
We're making dresses
Where? In the which lab?
in our class only.
Show na. Show.
I'm at the hostel.
Asa, you are at the hostel. Okay. But I would have loved to see the installations. I remember. You guys are not doing installations.
So we
Sir,
did
we did
some
it. It was
strategy.
yesterday.
Huh?
It was yesterday. We
Asa,
did it.
okay, it was yesterday. Hmm. Nice. Okay. Well, so do you think this gives you good idea? Shall I proceed further in filling up one section for you, or shall we call it a
Yes,
day?
sir. Actually, I had a question.
Yeah.
So this is going to be like the one assignment for all the three sem. Is it so?
All the three what?
Assignments, like we have assignment one, two, and three, and some mid and
Oh,
three.
this is just the brief generation.
Okay.
And after the brief is generated, your problem statements will be formulated. That this is what we are going to work upon.
Okay.
And then next time we meet is going to be about ideation. We find out what solutions will work or not. And post
Okay.
that, we will start developing the UX. And followed by that, we will do the UI.
Okay. So this is going to be like one project for all?
Yeah,
Okay.
not a group activity, it's an individual thing. Everybody has to fill up the form. It's not a group activity.
Okay.
Clear?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else has any question? No questions?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Yes, yes, tell me. No questions?
Sir. Hello.
Yeah, tell me, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah. I wanted to understand that the brief that we are trying to generate, should it be like entirely a new idea, or we can identify a gap within an existing system and then explore on it?
Yes, that's all right. Yes, you can identify a gap as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is the UI part, a mandatory part of this assignment by the end,
Which
or if we are working on physical experiences, then there won't be any UI. So, is it the mandatory part?
see, if somebody works on physical experiences, the user interface is going to differ from what we build in Figma.
Okay.
Okay, so the user interface would be a 3D simulation. If you have expertise in that, you can go ahead with that. Like at least you should be able to show the whole thing in SketchUp to the least, if not Blender, and decent fidelity, not very high fidelity, but decent fidelity, enough to make people understand that such kind of space is being imagined.
So, it doesn't have to be an app or something, right?
No, no, no. Why? It can
Okay.
be just a
Okay.
corner or any place. It is fine. There is a problem, and you're tackling that problem, or you want people to give a physical experience, tactile experience. That is also okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Anybody else has any question? No questions? Okay. So let me just go to the preview model, and so it will ask for recording your email. I understand you guys have all filled up the forms, so I'm not trying to show you how forms are filled, but rather how to use ChatGPT real quick. You know, I'll just fill in anything here. Okay. So now here I would think about what kind of person I am. Which domain does your project primarily focus? I'm somebody who would love to do a digital interface, and I want focus of my project to be maybe a product I want to do. Okay. And now out of these options, um actually the product I have in mind uh, will help in any of these segments. But still, if I need to prioritize uh, based on this, mm, let's say education and say next. Now, why did I choose education? Because I have given my time in education. I understand education good because spent almost 15 years in it. So when you select, you should also think of something like that, like something which really is native to you. You don't have to try hard in finding out the sector. Okay. So I felt education being the most comfortable sector to explore for this project. And let's be realistic. Yes, you would say that why not take up a challenge and pick up a completely alien sector or something new. Okay, so you try new things when you have experience in that domain. Right now, we are just starting with this. So go with your comfort zone. Describe the problem or need you intend to address with your project. Okay. Now here comes chat. Okay. And what I'll do is rather than answering these questions, I would copy these and ask ChatGPT to answer it. But at the same time, I don't want ChatGPT to think of the problem. The problem I have already thought. I just need to think of that problem from these perspectives, these angles. And if it has any further queries, ChatGPT can ask me. So I'll have to think of a problem. Now, let's talk about the problem first. So my problem is that in design academia in India, the colleges lack a proper learning management system, or no, because that exists. It's not so good, but one thing, a proper platform to manage academic documentation. And my focus is on assessment and alignment with OBE, which is called objective based education. Now, ChatGPT knows about these terms because I've been researching on these for some time. And you would also have to come up with something like this. And I'm not just imagining, I have dealt with such problems. That is why I'm mentioning it. So everybody must have dealt with something. So in design academia in India, the colleges lack a proper platform to manage academic documentation. My focus is on assessments and alignment with OBE. Um, want to create a web app which allows users to track the marks and map it as per OB and manage course files, CO, PO, attainments. Now, why I'm able to write these things here? Because this is not coming from my imagination. This is coming from my experience. So it is very important that while thinking of a project, you don't imagine. Speculative design is also okay. But here in this case, let's be very real. You only pick out the things in which you have expertise, and expertise can vary at levels. At your level, your expertise can be very different than somebody who has have experience of 15, 20 years in the same field. So it's not about shying away, but rather endorsing what your knowledge is and what it is about. Okay. Now, COPO attainments. Okay. And I'll just prepare it. I make it aware of the thing we are doing. So I am filling up a form which helps me to identify the problem better and construct my thoughts, construct, sorry, construct my thoughts. I'll put up the set of questions in a sequential. Sequential is important. in sequential manner to answer. If you have questions based on the questions posted in terms of contextualization and my personal preferences, ask. You saw the prompt. I have just constructed it. And before I push the enter button, let's go through it once again. So in Design Academia, and I am at the section where we are trying to identify the problem and look for either scope of innovation. So it's both. In Design Academia, in India, the colleges lack a proper platform to manage academic documentation. And this problem I'm facing, I have seen multiple colleges and some of the best ones, and they indeed like a platform which can help the faculty members, the academic people, how OB, which is a new, not a new thing, so it has been there, but now it has been brought to India also, and a lot of colleges are trying to practice it. It's objective based education where they map the progression of students right from the beginning, and their main medium of mapping it by sending you know by controlling the curriculum, uh, uh, by putting up metrics taken from Bloom's taxonomy and uh, course outcomes, program specific outcomes, alignment with how the students are performing in their class in their assignments. So that's a completely different discussion. But right now, let's just think of a software and try to fill it out. Uh, Now I am filling up a form which helps me to identify the problem better and construct my thoughts. I'll put up the set of questions in sequential manner. Uh, Questions in sequential manner. Answer. If you have question based on the questions posted in terms of contextualization and my personal preference, please ask. Simple. Now, by the time it thinks about it, let me just copy the questions. And guys, this is not cheating, by the way. If you do it, I'm okay with it. Now, what ChatGPT says that this sounds a well-structured approach. Share the question sequentially, and I'll answer them while also ensuring they align with your context and preferences. If I see gaps or need further details, I'll ask relevant questions to help refine your thoughts. I'll just put one question at a time, and that will help the chatbot maintain the sequence and build knowledge sequentially as well. So there goes my first question. And here comes the problem statement. Now, if you read through it, it is too much of information, and it seems as if just the problem statement is enough to do the entire project, which is not the case. Now, from here, you'll have to tell ChatGPT to think of this form as not just one question, but a series of questions. Let me copy and paste it here now. It is okay, I can let the stars be there, it will understand. So, now I'm typing. These, you know, are the questions to be answered based on the brief you have generated answer all the questions in brief. Make it easy for the audience, uh, or the reviewer to understand the answers and the answer. If you want to set a word limit, you can do that. Word limit max, let's say 150 words to what? Yeah, I think let's go for 250 words. And min will be, let's say, 45 words. Yeah, I think I need to reduce it. Yeah, right? Let's say 100. Let's also understand a lot of people see usage of chat GPT as something shady or something like which is not ethical, but the way you use it is going to actually make a difference. So now I'm getting the answers here, and let's just go through it. Problem statement is intent design academia lack a structured platform for managing academic documentation, particularly for assessment, OBL and COB. Faculty rely on inefficient manual processes, making assessment, tracking, curriculum planning, and accreditation reporting cumbersome. Right? So what is that? That is a problem. Exactly what I had in mind. And I just processed it with ChatGPT to write better, contextualize better, and of course, it has better, comprehension and writing abilities than me. Right? So, is this a new or existing problem? This is an existing problem in academia, worsened by fragmented documentation and the lack of digital solution tailored to OBE in design education. Notice this lack of digital solutions tailored to OBE in design education. Now, is this a hallucination? Because I know there are softwares, but what ChatGPT is assuming that I have already reviewed those softwares. I have reviewed those softwares and then found out that still those are not good enough, right? And since my purpose initially has been told to ChatGPT as that I intend to create a software, so probably it is negating that as well, that there any software exists. Okay, now where we have to be a little more vigilant. Let's go back to the question again. It says, is this a new problem or an existing one? Here we are not talking about the solution, we are talking about the problem itself. So yes, this is an existing problem in academia, worsened by fragmented documentation and a lack of digital solutions tailored to OP in designing, which is a correct answer for this question. Now supporting evidence. It says NAC and MBA accreditation requirement emphasizes structured COLP wording, and that's it. I know what NAC is, I know what MBA accreditation is. That is why I understand. This should also do the same. So some preliminary basic research before you start interacting. And it says manual not giving leads to errors, inefficiencies, faculty feedback indicates a need for streamlined assessment tracking. Now, this last statement where it says faculty feedback indicates a need for streamlined assessment tracking. We have not done any student survey to understand the faculty feedback. So we can't mention this here. What evidences or research supports the significance of this problem? Because we have not done a survey, we will not include that. Yes, we know these two things and we will definitely put these things. That's why you use ChatGPT. You just don't blatantly copy things and paste it. You understand and then final decision has to be taken by you. So what are the potential innovations or unique approaches you could bring to solve this problem? Here it says automated CO mapping, real-time assessment tracking, centralized course management. Yes, these are a few of the things I've written to, of course. So I'm not pasting here. Now comes primary existing solutions and differentiation. So current LMS or ERP systems are generic and lack tailored mapping tools for design academy, and that's the truth. Have you checked for existing solutions? How will your solutions be different? Then comes primary stakeholders, and this is correct. Faculty, academic administrator, institutions, accreditation bodies, and then comes faculty spend excessive time managing your yes. How does the problem impact their daily lives and workflows? So these stakeholders, these are how they are impacted. This form is also following a UX research process. You know, you see, it is in such a sequence that it makes you think about not just the problem but also the stakeholders, which is the UX process, as we had seen it in the discover phase and in the define phase. Now comes what is the scope of this problem? Scope says that national, but it has to be global. Perfect answer. We are targeting India, but if it works in India, it can be adopted globally as well. Is it localized, regional, or global? Sorry. Yeah. What is the scope of the problem? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. And is it localized, regional, or global? Of course, this answer clearly puts us that it is global. It's a repetitive sort of question which it answers. So, now, primarily design educators and administrators, but expandable to broader higher education institutions. Yes. And we got the answers, and we have spent about how much time? 20 minutes, 25 minutes. But because I had a little idea of this, I could afford not to read this. In your case, if you do not have a background understanding of the problem you are tackling, you should read this thoroughly and maybe refine it further by interacting, questioning, sort of arguing with ChatGPT. You can't argue with an AI, but still. Okay, now let's go to the next, and that's it. So in the next, you have research and validation, and here probably the ChatGPT will not be much of an help because it is asking you to say what preliminary research have you conducted on this topic. Now you should actually put in this answer questions. Now how I would actually address it, I'm gonna copy this and paste it here, and then answer these questions here. So what preliminary research have you conducted on this topic? I have spoken to many faculty members across multiple design institutes in capitals of Indian states and also from personal experience. I can confirm that the problem persists and affects a large group of. What insights have you gained from your research? structured, easy to handle system, powered by digital platform and streamline record keeping analysis prepare for first language and service. So in the same way, you should answer these questions. Are there X solutions in your projects? That you can yes, there are many. Please find, please search online and include a few. What methodologies will you use to validate your problem statement? I will kind of structure surveys and group interviews. So here we already have these options. So how will you ensure just a second. How will you ensure that your project remains user-centered throughout the development? Now, how would we ensure? Please suggest. Okay. So the answers you don't know. Okay, fine. I don't know how will I do it. So please suggest. So in all ways, I have sort of answered the questions myself. And now in the end, I'll ask ChatGPT, please refine my answers. Please refine my answers based on earlier constraints. Okay, and I'll enter. And that's how you employ AI. You take the lead, right? It says primary research conducted, preliminary research conducted. This is what it says. Conversations with numerous faculty members across various design institutes in Indian state's capital, coupled with personal experience, confirm that the lack of structured academic documentation system is a widespread issue affecting a significant number of educators and administrators. See the way you framed it. If you like it, good. Otherwise, you ask to reframe this. Insights gathered, I'll not read them, simply just copy, paste existing solutions in similar projects. The best part, I asked it to look for the existing solutions and it is actually giving me the existing solutions. By the way, guys, I'm using the paid version of ChatGPT. Your experience with it may differ. So, but I'm not suggesting that you go and buy one. But if you can, you should. Even if you want to do it in groups, please do that. Otherwise, even the free version of it is okay. And otherwise, you can try Cloud AI. The free version of Cloud AI is better than ChatGPT's. So Cloud AI is from Anthropic. Um, I would just click on this and then go learn more about it. And I know D2L because I have experimented with D2L. And it also gives me Newton, Alex, D2L, Desire to Learn, Smart Sky. So try to find out a little about if such situation arrives where you don't have the data and you want ChatGPT to find out data from you. But in this case, I'm just gonna copy this and paste it here. Now we need to fix this, right? So I can't put it here like this. So what I'll do, I'll just control X and say the ChatGPT. Remove links write in a paragraph. That's so I've given it a text and it's gonna format it for me. The same thing, right? So now I can paste it here. Now it says methods to validate the problem. So I'm gonna do structured surveys and group interviews and secondary research. Now all three split platforms. Now maybe I can do case studies also. And then this is what it is suggesting to ensure it's aligned with user-centered approach. So continuous user feedback, iterative testing, user testing, post implementation. Very good. So while copying and pasting it, maybe just read once also. And because it's probably the best practice which is offered by ChatGPT, you also are using it. That is okay. And this is actually coming out from the UX process. ChatGPT understands the UX process. Now let's go to the next. And in the same way, you can continue filling up the form and submit it. So how much time did it take for me to fill this? I think not more than half an hour. However, uh, the prerequisites are that you should be aware of the problem, understand the problem statements really well, and have some experience and some background with it. That's it. So I'll just let it be here. I'm not gonna complete this entire form because this is supposed to be filled by you. And today it's 8th. I would love to see the submissions of the form by 15th. A week's time is good enough time. So I would request you guys to finish it by 15th, and because I would also have some time to review all those submissions. It's going to be a huge amount of data on my side. But since I have a couple of weeks, we are meeting again on 5th. So these 2 weeks I'll utilize for reviewing through your entries. Okay. Any doubts, any questions? Very well then. So I'm just gonna, say goodbye. Have a nice day and enjoy Spectrum. Let's make sure that you fill up this form by next Saturday. Thank you guys.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.